everyone. We are at White Oak Cemetery in Bloomington, Indiana today. This is a really pretty little cemetery that is off of 7th Street. Only about, I don't know, maybe half a mile away from Rose Hill. So if you're familiar with Bloomington or you've watched my other video about Rose Hill is the largest cemetery in Monroe County, with Valhalla Memorial Gardens being the second largest. White Oak, however, is one of the oldest ones, and I have a little history here about it. Texting my father. I will in a moment, anyway. In the meantime, while we wait for my history to pop up, we have here a memorial to Indiana pioneers. This was put together by the Parks Department, and it lists names and dates collected by the Monroe County Historical Society over the last 40 years from small cemeteries, many of which have disappeared. So here we have the pioneers listed from Armstrong Cemetery, Bell Armstrong or Park Cemetery, which recently they actually discovered the Bell Armstrong Park Cemetery. And there is a listing for it on Find a Grave now that you can go look at. It's not in good condition. Somebody found it, I don't know if it was on their property or while they were walking through the woods, but recently the History Center did go out there and take a look at it. Buskirk Huff Cemetery, Dearman Allen Cemetery, I do believe that one is officially lost. The Gray Cemetery, or Cray Cemetery, I haven't actually seen anything about that one, so I don't know much about it. The Griffith Cemetery, you can get to the Griffith Cemetery. It is off of southbound State Road 37. It is kind of hard to get to because you cannot cross State Road 37 going north to get to it, so you actually have to come back south. It's kind of in an odd location, and unfortunately, it's in a bad spot to try and get to. So here we have Cross Cemetery, or Gross Cemetery, I guess it is. Houston Cemetery. At the bottom you have Johnson Cemetery, Rogers Cemetery Section 22, and the Rogers Cemetery in Township 36. So these are all important people to the formation of the county of Monroe and to a lot of the little towns that are long since gone, no longer here. Okay, so here we have a little history about White Oak Cemetery.
Originally the United Presbyterian Cemetery, White Oak Cemetery was purchased by the city of Bloomington in 1914 and renamed White Oak in 1983. For most of its history, the White Oak Cemetery was named the United Presbyterian Cemetery. The United Presbyterian Church, or its predecessor, the Associated Reformed Presbyterian Church, was established in 1833 and built an early log church building on this site, which was given to the church by John Blair. The first burial in the adjoining cemetery was probably in 1837, as stated in the October 1st, 1898 issue of the local newspaper, the Republican Progress. This cemetery is thus one of the oldest in the country, having been started only 19 years after Monroe County was organized.
Oldest in the county.
County. No, it says country.
It's county.
It's county, but it says country.
Yeah, it's county.
Many of the pioneer church members, several being important figures in early Monroe County history, as we learned, were buried here. These include names such as Fee, Wiley, Bryan, Gorley, Woodburn, and Henderson, important names in Monroe County, and use United Presbyterian Church history. How much of this do you want me to read? There's a lot.
You can keep going if you want to.
Okay. I'm just trying to not blind myself with the reflection of my screen. An article in the December 22nd, 1883 Bloomington Telephone notes that a substantial stone fence was placed around the cemetery through the efforts of James Strong. But less than 15 years later, an article in the November 1st, 1898 issue of the Republican Progress that the trustees of the church had put the cemetery for sale.
And as you can see by looking at the cemetery now, there is no stone fence anymore. It's long since gone.
The article indicated that the burials had been removed to Rose Hill Cemetery. Many monuments in this cemetery did not immediately sell, as records indicate that the city of Bloomington purchased the property from the church of 1914. The cemetery made improvements to the city made improvements to the cemetery in 1982, including regrading, landscaping, and installation of a new lawn on the east end.
And that would be that area down here.
Yeah. They gave the renovated cemetery the name White Oak Cemetery in 1983. The west part of the cemetery is still being used for burials. And then the rest of this is just the settlers, which we just read.
Yeah. So that information is from the Bloomington, Indiana city government website. Since this particular cemetery, as well as Rose Hill, are owned and operated by the Parks Department. They're also the ones who take care of it and do all the upkeep. Except when it comes to the headstones, like unfortunately this one here, that is not really the responsibility of the city, but sometimes the History Center will get involved in doing restorations and coming out here and taking care of things. Fortunately, it does not appear that White Oak has been slated for any restoration as of lately, because I do not see any of the orange markers, which is sad because a lot of these old stones, I mean, like these guys right here, terrible condition, busted up, knocked over. It looks like even more have been knocked over since the last time I was here. So we have Robert Campbell, died April 23rd, 1869. This one's in decent condition except for the top of it, which is right there on the ground. His wife, Millie Campbell, and this one's a large tablet style headstone. It's still in pretty good condition. I see she was from County Antrim, Ireland, and she died November 1851. I believe Robert Campbell also was from Ireland. And the back side of this one is Jane Campbell, July 24th, 1869. That would have been his second wife. Here we have Letitia P. Moffat, wife of John Moffat. She was born September 11th, 1808 by the looks of it. And she has a flag on her stone. Now, I'm not really sure why she has a flag unless she did something particular in the war. I know sometimes that wives or mothers, sometimes daughters, will have memorial flags on their headstones because they were involved somehow in the war. Either they were a nurse or they donated time and goods to the efforts of the war. You'll see that in some cases. So, this right here is the oldest section of the cemetery. You can tell by obviously by the headstones. Lots of tablet headstones. There's a lovely, right there, a triptych style headstone. They are in terrible condition. They're not weathering well at all. Lots of fallen over, busted pieces. And it's sad. This is one of the reasons why I come out and do this, is because they're falling apart. I see a couple that look like they've actually been vandalized recently. So, and it sucks. I mean, people have little to no respect for a lot of our own history. Let's see, how you can see it's Joseph Henderson. You'll recognize that name if you live in Bloomington. Henderson. Let's go, leafed. Henderson is the name of a street in Bloomington. He was born in 1765 and died in 1849. And then down at the bottom, this is new. Sons of the American Revolution, 1775. He was a patriot, so he would have been involved in the war. Somebody's knocked over his flag. And here's Elizabeth Henderson.
Why? Because the ground is solid.
Oh, yeah. Born in Virginia, in Augusta County, Virginia, in 1767. She died in 1841. You may just have to lay it on top of the... There you go. Here's Mary Penny, or Perry. I think it says Penny.
I think it says Penny.
Yeah. And then there's this one. I love this headstone. Sacred to the memory of Jeanette, wife of Robert Strong. She was born in... I can't read what it says. Something... Departed this life December 23rd, 1842. There's a willow at the top of it. And there's sacred to the memory of James Ritchie. Departed this life September 9th, 1837. He was 77 years old. So he would have been born in the mid-1700s. And he has an urn with the eternal flame at the top, and that signifies eternal life. There's headstones and stuff back here by the fence that have all been busted and knocked over. I haven't actually been down here in a while to photograph anything. I really should. It's not looking so good. I don't think this one was busted over the last time I was here. This one appears to be fairly recently damaged too. In the memory of Andrew S. Tate, born 1811, died, it's like 1840. The top of it has a willow. It's been busted up pretty good. I don't see any of the pieces, so I don't know what's happened to those. Now here's one that's surrounded by a small limestone fence. It's really hard to read. Sarah, wife of David Cherry. I don't know which one David Cherry is. I don't see him. Yeah. Here's one that's been all busted up. This was Martha somebody. Here's some headstones just leaning up against a tree. Not really sure where they belonged. Samuel T., son of S.C. and E.A. Harrison. Born, this is interesting, it says born March 4th, died November 30th, 1854. You kind of would have to believe that he was born March 4th, 1854, since they couldn't put a year date.
Yeah.
Here's Robert somebody. Can't read the top of that one.
Robert Harrison.
Harrison.
Harrison, I imagine.
And there's, you can't really see it very well. I don't know if you can see that. The infant of Samuel and Eliza Harrison. Well, here's Janet, wife of Robert Harrison. Yeah, so that one over there must be a Harrison.
Yeah.
And that one's turned around or upside down, so I can't tell. That might have been Eliza Harrison. Here's another really pretty one. Sacred to the memory of Martha. So it says Martha, wife of William Macmillan. Yeah. Departed this life February 28th, 1843, age 34 years, 8 months, and maybe 14 days, I can't tell. Also, John C. something, son of William and Martha Millen.
Yeah, so it's Millen, not
So yeah, so it's William M. Millen. And if you know something with a lot of these cemeteries, especially the ones in the city like this, because they had to make space for more and more burials, you'll notice that all of the footstones are missing. Now, there's numerous reasons for that. One of the big things that I have come across is that when cemeteries are owned by cities, a lot of the times the people who are doing all of the landscaping will come through and remove the footstones because they're in the way. It's they're placed so it's too hard for the lawnmowers to get through, which I don't know what they do with them. Oddly enough, here's one footstone that's still here. You can see the little stone at the bottom. It's the footstone. Here, John Adams, born August 12th, 1785, died January 4th, 1853. And then we have these over here in memory of Mary S. Gorley. You'll recognize the name Gorley if you're from Bloomington. If you have any knowledge of Bloomington, there's a Gorley Pike in Bloomington. Died June 14th, 1842, aged 8 months. In memory of Joseph Gorley, died December 13th, 1846, aged 12 years. And then here is Robert Gorley. He died February 7th, 1864. You can see we came across this same iconography over at Mount Gilead. The flag, the tents, and it's starting to wear off, but there's a little tiny stack of cannonballs right there. He does not have, however, a veteran's marker anywhere. Another broken stone. It's just sad to see them deteriorating like this. I mean, this is so much of our city's and our county's history right here in this cemetery. And it's taken for granted because, unfortunately, in this day and age of throwaway technology, I say as I'm recording this on my cell phone,
Yep.
throwaway technology and fast fashion and fast entertainment, taking the time to walk through a cemetery and learn about the people who are buried here.
Strawberry.
Don't eat that. No strawberry. It's becoming lost. And so when I tell people that my daughter and I come to cemeteries and we do this, a lot of the times we get stared at because people think we're weird. Which you know,
aren't wrong,
which they're not wrong. We are pretty strange. But when I explain to them, you know, do you realize that, do you know who founded your city? Do you know who founded the town you live in? Do you know anything about that? And I'll get no. And then I tell them, well, visit your local cemetery. You will find all of this information there. Just look for the names. Do a little research. Use Google since you're so into technology. You know, here's the memory of Janet Hemphill, wife of William Hemphill. Departed this life July 29th, 1846, age 63. It's a beautiful headstone. This one has a carver's name on it. J something, I can't read it. Hardin, maybe. A lot of times if you look close enough down near the bottom right hand side, you'll see the carver's names. Here we have memory of Robert R. Campbell. Memory of John Alexander Campbell. He was born in Johnson County, Indiana. I may have actually come across his name when I did some stuff in the Franklin cemeteries.
Look at the Getty one back here.
Oh yeah, so here's an interesting one. I can get up close enough to it here.
Yeah.
Without tripping over the little fence. So here we have Lizzie and John C. Getty. Lizzie died in 1928, being born in 1855. John died in 1866 after being born in 1940. Now, you can see his date for his birth date was carved out, so it's likely that they put the wrong date on there and carved it out and then carved the correct 66 above it. So
I just got hit in the neck with a leaf. That hurt. Went at me like 10 miles an hour.
I know. Well, at least it's breezy today.
Yeah.
So, and this whole section here is open. I don't know if this is slated for burials or if this is just the green area. I know that people walk their dogs through the cemetery and stuff. One lone little forgotten headstone here. So, all right. Well, thank you for joining us on our walk through White Oak Cemetery in Bloomington. Let's walk through the tombstone. It's on a lovely sunny day, nearly October, and it's far too warm.
Yeah, I know.
So hopefully we'll be able to do some more and catch some of the fall weather and the fall colors coming in. So once again, thank you for joining us on our walk through the tombstones at White Oak Cemetery. Bye.